I'm here today to go over the 2024 in color class. It is May of 2024, and we're going to start first with a little bit of education on the stamp pads. This particular class is one I offer every year, and it does include the new in colors. So you'll have 5 brand new pads to play with, beautiful colors. I think you're going to love them. But let's talk a little bit about the pad prep. First of all, you want to unwrap them out of their shrink plastic. And then on the back, and I'll show you how to do this here in just a minute, you've got these labels. I've already done this one. So you're going to place those labels. I like to put one, and this is personal preference. I like to put one, there's 2 in English, and then there's a blank one, and there's 2 other languages. So I like to put the English ones on both ends. And then the blank one, I like to open up and stick right inside there. And you'll notice I've got a little puddle of ink over here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that later. I did that because I like to pull that off with the blending pen. We're going to actually do that in one of the projects. So let's talk a little bit about how stamp pads like to live. You know, they're kind of like us. They don't like to be in direct sunlight. That's going to dry them out and make the color fade. So wherever you store your stamp pads, make sure they're away from windows and sun and exposure to heat or getting too cold. So it's not advisable to store them in an air conditioned storage unit or something like that. Mine live in the stamp room against a wall that doesn't see the sun. They also don't like to get too cold, so storing them in the garage might not be a good idea either. Okay, so here's a brand new one. I have not done anything with these yet, so let me give you a few tips with the labels. The first thing I like to do is pull off the big thing, and then I just like to push the labels down so they stay on the back, and I can only have to deal with one at a time. And then this just goes in the garbage, or you could repurpose it if you want to. Okay, and then I pull off one, and it goes on the front. And then I pull off the other one that's in English. And again, this is, do what works for you and your organization. This is just what happens to work for me. And then in the back. All right, now I'm going to open this up. Now your pads might be stiff, and so it might take a little bit of effort to get them open. This one is particularly stiff. I'm going to show you one little trick about the sliding. Then I'm going to take this off. I wanted to open it before I took this off because I tried it the other way and that didn't work out very well. Trying to get it in there, hold this on my finger and then open that up. So what I like to do with this is just stick it in one corner, kind of line it up, and then press it down. And if you don't want to get your fingers inky, you could use your Take-A-Pick tool. I'm probably going to get my fingers inky. I'm okay with that. Or a bone folder just to push it down. I'm going to go ahead and push it down with this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with those 3. Now, here's a trick. If this thing is stiff, because when they're new, they are stiff. So this one isn't too bad. But if it's really stiff, this Shy Shamrock one was, take a birthday candle, and the light that you would end is thin enough. Just run it back and forth in the tracks a few times. It puts a little wax in there, and it makes them so much easier to slide open and stuff. Before you close it up, just blow it out. Make sure there's no candle wax in there. Now, let's open it, and you're going to see that it slides so much better, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So there's a little tip there. I learned that from another demonstrator. These, you still have 2 labels left. So here's a suggestion that another demonstrator had, and I haven't purchased my new reinkers yet for these in colors. That's on my next order. But take that one of those extra labels and put it across the lid of your reinker. Makes it so much easier to find the reinkers, at least for me. This is last year's in colors. So then you still have 1 label left, and you can find a use for that or just save it until you do find a use for it. Okay, so that's a little bit of Stamp Pad 101. Now for class, you're going to need all 5 of them. So once you get them prepared, then keep them out. And you can look at the PFD document and see what else you might need, but let me just go through some basics. If you like to stamp on top of a mat, I've got my paper piercing tool. You will need a black ink pad for a couple of the projects. You'll need dimensionals, glue dots. I like to use Scotch tape. And then, of course, whatever you like for your adhesive. And then I've got my handy dandy take a pick tool. So those are the basics, and you're obviously going to need some stamps and dies and punches depending on how you make your cards. Let's start with the first little card. This is called a rocker card, and it's so cute. It rocks like a rocking horse, and it features that pretty and pink color. Now, one tip on this one when you go to assemble is you cannot go over the width of the envelope. So if you kind of lay your project on the, when it's finished, and put your first layer on the circles with dimensionals, and then just line it up with the envelope so you don't go over the size of the envelope. Otherwise, it won't fit and you'll have to find a different envelope. Okay, so on this one, let me go through the products that I used. So I used the Cutest Cow bundle. This is from the mini catalog, but it also carried over to the annual catalog, so it is still available. And then I used the Distress 3D embossing folder, and that is also available too. And then the actual rocker is made from the deckled circle dies. So if you want to repeat the project, let me tell you which circles I used. They're out, but I used the second from the biggest is actually this. The biggest one is too big for the envelope. So the second from the biggest. And then the other, these are out right now because they're being used, but you're going to use this one and this one. So for the circles, you could use smaller too, but that's what I use. So these are available, these deckled circle dies. They're actually quite useful. Last time I looked, they were on low inventory, so they may go out of stock for a short time, but they will come back and be available. All right, let's get to the card. All right, when you open this up, you got all kinds of little circles and a little cute little bow. And speaking of the bow, this is the new in color ribbon, and it is pretty in pink. Comes on a spool. It's called Bordered Ribbon. I am going to be running a ribbon club next month, so I'll have more details out about that very soon. If you'd like to participate, that means that you can get a share of all of the ribbon without having to purchase all 5 rolls. Okay, so we've got our cow punch. Let's talk about these pieces. Let's set all this stuff aside for now. This needs to get glued here. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this is the layer down on the deckled after you emboss it. And yours are all embossed. If you did the mail-out version, the virtual mail-out version, I embossed all this stuff. It's all cut. It's all ready for you. You just got to stamp it and assemble. All right. Let's see. So here's the little cow's head and the cow's body and the flowers and our little greeting. So let's start stamping. Now, I don't think too many of you have the cows bundle. I was kind of thinking about this when I was preparing the kits. So I just gave you a piece of basic white. I tried cutting the cow without stamping them, and it doesn't look right. So I just sent you a piece of paper, and you can put a flower or maybe another animal. If you have one of the other animal punches in there, you can use that. And I'm sure everybody has some kind of flowers, especially if you look in your paper pumpkin kits. There's tons of stuff. So you'll have something that you can use. And if you love the cow bundle, then you can order it. It is in the annual catalog. All right, so we're going to start by stamping this. And then we're going to set it to the side because we want it to dry because we're going to color it. And then we're going to stamp the cow. And we're going to stamp the cow's head. I think that'll fit. And I'll put it over here. Now that may not totally work out. And then our little sentiment. I love this. What's moo with you? Nice, cute little card to maybe send out to somebody that you want to lift up a little bit. Okay, so I used the blender pens to color this in. And I used my Pretty in Pink pad. So you're going to have to click this down to get the ink to the top. And you kind of got to push hard. And open it up. This one is really stiff. Okay, so you have a little bit of ink at the top. You'll use your blender pen. Pull the ink off. And then I colored in the middle of the flowers. I also colored the cow, so I bring him back in a minute. Now, if you don't have any blender pens, you can use any of your markers that you'd like, the blends or the actual Stampin' Write markers. I know several of you have ordered the in-color markers, so you can use those. Or just leave it plain. It's really up to you. If you have an aqua painter, that works too. There's lots of different tools that you can use. You could use colored pencils. Whatever supplies you have would be my suggestion. Don't you find coloring is kind of therapeutic? Okay, I'm not going to color his head in because I think he's going to get messed up when I punch the body. I think I didn't put him where he should have been at. So yeah, he's going to get messed up. So I'm going to punch the body. I should have put him on the other side. And then I will stamp his cute little head again over here. Make sure that's going to work before we take the time to color him in. All right, that's perfect. I'll go ahead and punch him out while I got it all lined up there. Okay, garbage everywhere. Get rid of all that. Okay, now let's color him in, and then we can get to the assembly. Let's see. Oh, he's so cute. All right, that is done now. So put this away. And I think we got all the stamping done, so we can actually start putting the whole thing together. All right, so this goes on. Oh, actually, we're not done. We have to color in the rest of the sunflowers. So you can either use your Shy Shamrock or your Summer Splash. And if you only have one blender pen, you want to pull that color out. You just color on a piece of paper. That'll change it for you. If you have two blender pens, I would make one green and one pink, and then clean them out at the end. Okay. So cute. I love these little flowers. This is from the cow set too. They're very happy. All right. Now we can assemble. Okay, so this goes in the pink circle. Okay, so remember, this is where we got to be careful with how we line this up so it still fits on our card. And we take a couple dimensionals. I'll put one down here, a couple up here. You don't want to go too high though, because you don't want them to poke above the envelope. Perfect. Okay, now get the cow on and put his face on. Such a cute little card. And then we'll put the What's Moo with you over here. And then last but not least, but to add a little balance, we'll go ahead and put a bow over here. And these are best adhere with a couple of glue dots. I love how generous the paper pumpkin kits are. I haven't bought in glue dots in years. There's always more than enough left over with the paper pumpkin kits. Okay, so there we go. Isn't that the cutest little thing ever? And if you're in class and you want to put that little cow head on the corner, how cute. I would not advise coloring it in because it'll bleed through on the envelope and then that'll look kind of weird on the back. Okay, there's our rocker card, one down. And that was probably the one that's a little more complicated. Let me just tidy up really quick and we'll go on to the next project. And while I'm doing that, let me stick this out for you. Okay, so this is Petunia Pop. And when you pull it out, you're going to find a couple of dies. And I did line it on the inside. So you've got one piece of white that goes here, and then your designer series paper goes right here. And then I'll get the dies out so you know what dies I use to get these sentiments out. And I sent everybody a happy birthday. I just assumed everybody would use a birthday. Oops, I better put this ribbon on before I hear that, because it goes under the DSP so you can see more of the DSP and it doesn't interfere with the letters that way. I believe when I was messing around with it, I tried both ways and it looked better under the DSP. And I'm sorry, this DSP was one of the online exclusives and it's sold out now, but it went really well with the Petunia Pop, so it's not available to purchase. That's the thing with those online exclusives. When you see them, there's no guarantee of how long they're going to be available. So if there's something you really love, grab it sooner rather than later. You can trim up the edge of the ribbon a little bit. All right, let's get this die out. And these dies are Wanted to Say. That's what they're called. They are current. They are in the current catalog. And then the stamp set that I used for the inside is Layering Leaves. And we're going to use the So Happy to Celebrate You. Or if you do a Feel Better, I use the Sending Hugs. Those are both current. This is where your Take-A-Pick tool or your snips will come in real handy, getting these little negatives out of the die. Probably the hardest part of the project is getting these little, well, maybe the gluing. And I know a lot of people like the two-way glue. For some reason, I kind of struggle with that. So I just use the regular green multi-purpose glue. Okay, so you have a layer to layer this on. So we need to line that up, make sure we got it going in the right direction. And then this is where you just want a little bit of glue. You don't need very much. And you could use glue dots too. You just kind of have to fold them up. Okay, let's get that up, and then we'll do the birthday. I love how that pops off the paper. This is my favorite in color right now, the Petunia Pop. What's your favorite in color? See that I still got a negative in there. I got to get out. Get out of there. There we go. All right, and then that goes on top of that. Love these dies. Okay, and then that just goes across here. All right, these, I did use some dimensionals to pop it up and really make it 3D on the project. Okay, all right, there you go. There's Petunia Pop. Okay, all right, now, next one. This is going to be our peach pie one. This out of the way. Oh, I forgot to stamp the middle. Let's see. So you do have a layer, and this one I'm going to put was happy birthday, so I'm going to put so happy to celebrate you. Seem to be really burning through birthday cards this month. May is a big birthday for our family, a big birthday month. Gosh, I really love that color. And then just a little bit of glue on the inside of the liner. Okay, and we're all done. All right, for reals. Okay, here we go. This is peach pie, and it is paired with the Fresh as a Daisy DSP, which is from last year's annual catalog, and it is retired, and I'm sorry that I don't usually use retired products in the class, but I just didn't have a paper that went with it, and this went so well with it. You'll see when you get it, and I just thought, you know what? Most of you have this paper. You'll have something similar if you want to copy it, so I think we'll be okay. Very cheerful card. Okay, and let me grab the stamp set that I used. Okay, this is the Heartfelt Hexagon, and this is available now in the catalog. This was something that was available in the mini catalog with the coordinating punch, and I love this punch. And I love how this lays out. So you punch 2 in the peach pie and then 1 in white, and that becomes your layer, and it's shaped. I love that. I love how it comes out, and I just love how well it coordinates with this paper, even though they were not created to go together. It looks really nice. Okay, so take your peach pie labels, hexagon labels, and lay them like that, and then we'll put our stamp on here. And this is, so what I did on this one is I used the outline, and then I've got the Hope Your Day is Filled with Joy, and I put them on both sides of the block just to utilize the block because I'm running out of blocks basically for class. So we'll go ahead. If you do not have this bundle, I know several of you got it during celebrations, just find some kind of a long stamp that will fit in the layer. And you can always, if you want to kind of jazz up the outside, just go ahead and like sponge it or use a dauber and just go around the edge with the peach pie to add a little bit of color to it if you want. Okay, let's see, where is my ribbon? On the floor, just like it happens in class. Okay, so what I did with the ribbon was I kind of just tried to lay it across, made like 3 little lines with it, and then I used the tape to anchor it down. You don't want to use too big of a piece of tape because you're going to need to cover it with this. So keep that in mind when you're taping it down. All right, and then I used a couple dimensionals to pop it up. All right, and that is just a really cute birthday card, or it could be a graduation card too. I'm going to go ahead and make it into a birthday card because that is what I need. So I'll just stamp that in the middle. Okay, there we go. Getting those birthday cards stacking up here. All right. This next one has kind of a fun little technique on it. We're going to use the Summer Splash on this one. And again, we'll need our black. So when you open it up, this is also a fun fold. It's a Z-fold card. We've done that card quite a few times in class. And I went ahead and I used the Fern embossing folder. And then you've got a black layer and a white layer. Don't glue those together until we do the stamping. So this is called shadow stamping. It's kind of messy. So if you aren't a messy stamper, you may not like this. We're going to open this Shy Shamrock or Summer Splash up, and we're going to ink it up a block, a long block. You need a long, skinny block. If you don't have a block, then another way to sort of do this would be with your blending brush. It won't look exactly the same because we're going to actually get kind of a shadow with doing it, and it's going to be square and long, which if you use a blending brush, that might be really difficult to do. And then you just kind of center it up and push down. And it gives you a shadowy kind of a background. And then I use black. And this is, I'll get it out for you in a minute. The lavender stamp set is where this leaf for greenery comes from. And I just stamped it on black on top of the shadowing. Let me grab that stamp set real quick so we can, the name of it. Painted Lavender. So it's this stamp right here. This would be cute with a butterfly on it too, as I'm looking at it. Okay, we're going to glue that on. And then we'll take the Summer Splash ribbon and tie it around. So that's just a different creative way to use your blocks. We all have blocks, and gives you just another way to use them. As far as cleaning this up when you're done, you can just rinse it in your kitchen sink and the ink will run right off of it. Or you can use a baby wipe and the ink will just come right off of it too. Actually, this is a hand sanitizing wipe. Okay, and then you might want to trim your ribbon a little bit if you got kind of scraggly ends. which I do. All right, and then you can either glue this down or put it down with a dimensional. Makes the card kind of thick when you do a dimensional, so if you're concerned about maybe it being too thick to mail out with the extra stamp, use glue between the fold back and then the 3D and then this. All right, and then I just left the inside blank, so you can make that into anything you want. It might make a really pretty sympathy card. All right, last but not least, got to do a guy card because, you know, Father's Day is coming. And this one uses the Adventurous Sky bundle. So I got the stamp set and the dies. And I don't think too many of you have it. So again, I left you a piece of plain paper. And you can use whatever you want on here. If you don't have the airplane, you put a punch on there, or don't even put anything on there. It'll be fine without anything. This is a mini slimline card. So it fits in a regular letter size envelope. And what we're going to start with is stamping all around on the Shy Shamrock. And I used one of the stamps from the set. This kind of looks like a runway to me. And I just realized I did not pull this out. So to pull this out of the stamp set, the case. If you don't have this, just use anything you have to create a background, because that's all we're doing. And if you want to, you could even use a embossing folder instead of stamping it. This is what we used to do in the olden days before we had embossing folders, was we would decorate and DSP, we would decorate our layers by randomly stamping all over them. So it's kind of an old fashion technique, but it works really well and it looks nice on this card. But like I said, there's lots of different ways to get a little bit of dimension and variation on the project. If you don't have this stamp, use something else, or use a let's see, I have a graduation coming up, so I'm going to grab a graduation stamp. My youngest grandson is graduating, not this coming weekend, but the following weekend. So like I said earlier, if you don't have the airplane and you want to just leave it plain, that's what I'm going to do, just so you can kind of look at it and see how it plays out. I better get this out of here. You guys would just crack up if you saw it was really clean when I started the video, and now there's just stuff everywhere. The video takes 30 minutes to make, usually, sometimes a little bit longer. And then it takes me about an hour, or sometimes even longer, to clean up the aftermath. Of course, I have to be really particular because this stuff's all going back in trays for class. So I can't just put it away. All right, and you have a Shy Shamrock layer. These dies were made with the Stylish Shapes dies. And what I like about this card, and the reason why I want to make it as a graduation card, is because we're giving cash. So I can just lay the cash right inside the card. It'll all fit really well and look really nice. Okay, this one is another fun fold, and you need to be careful and not put any adhesive over here so that the card does open freely. And before we do that, we got to put our ribbon on. So when you put the ribbon on, you kind of want to bring it around like this. I'm just going to loosely kind of tie it, not really tie it very well right now, because I want to put a little bit of glue dots on the back. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm going to turn it over on the back, and I'm going to poke down a couple of glue dots underneath the ribbon there. Yeah, where did I hide my glue dots? Okay, and then that just goes there. And that way, when the recipient opens the card, the ribbon just won't fall off on the floor. Okay, so that's how the card goes, and you can put something on the inside if you want. Congratulations would be good. Something like that. Okay, so there we go. And then I could stamp the airplane on the corner of this card if I wanted to. Okay, so that's all 5 projects, guys. Watch for an email soon about the In Color Ribbon Club. That will be something I'll be doing in June. And then I think all of you know at this point that I'm not going to be doing any real classes during June, July, or August. We're going to be working on our house this summer, and so just got too many irons in the fire, and then we've got some trips planned, and it's just it takes a lot of time to prepare for these classes, and I always want to try to do the best job I can, so I don't want to be stressed out at summer. Plus, we should all be outside working in our yard, getting some exercise and enjoying summer. So if you miss classes, something that would be a really good fill-in would be to do a 3-month Paper Pumpkin subscription for June, July, and August. And then you'll get a kit in the mail each month, and you'll still have a class. That does come with a video, and I'm still doing Paper Pumpkin videos through the month as well. So you'll get an extra set of ideas from me, and that would kind of carry you through with your card making ideas. I'm also going to be gathering cards for the honor flights for veterans. And if you're part of the community service projects, you'll get more information about that either later this month or early next month. Right now I'm working on Father's Day cards. So until we finish that gathering for community service, I don't want to start another one, but next month I'm going to start that one. So that'll give you some opportunities to stamp and some reasons to stamp if you need them. All right, I hope you guys have fun with your class, and if you have any questions or problems with your kits, please reach out and let me know right away. Also, each one of you should have gotten the new Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. If that is not the case, if you'd let me know, I will reach out to Stampin' Up! And see what happened, because I did have those mailed to you. And if you have any questions or you need anything, please reach out. If you need to order anything, you can use my website or you can email me directly, and I'll take care of that for you. Have a really great summer if I don't talk to you again. Take care. Bye.